Don't miss the inaugural All-American Cup Team Tennis Tournament, presented by Thomas J. Henry, at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, November 11th through 13th. The All-American Cup features 10 top men's U.S. players competing on 2 teams, East versus West, each captained by the greatest tennis doubles team of all time, Mike and Bob Bryan. You don't want to miss this. Brother versus brother, East versus West, best versus best. Tickets on sale now at allamericantenniscup.com.
Pickle, hit the air raid sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course, when we overreact to the football weekend. The final Monday Morning Fallout of the season. We won't do this again until August.
Yeah, because there will be nothing left to overreact to.
Next week we're just going to vibe
We're
on
just
Monday.
Going to vibe.
Yeah.
No overreaction, just vibes.
Just vibes next Monday. All right, next Monday. So last Monday Morning Fallout of the weekend or the year. Let's finish it out in style. Let's start with my 3 big thoughts. Thought number 1, margin call. Of the 44 UIL Texas high school football games this weekend, 12 were one-score games. 12 of them. And there were others that I think were functionally one-score games that got away late. I think an example of that is Brock and Whitesboro. Brock and Whitesboro was really nip and tuck. Brock scored late again to ice it. But that was for the purposes of the game, a one-score game that wasn't. It ended up being 11-point win. The thing about these games, as we get deeper into the playoffs, obviously the teams are getting better and the stakes are getting higher, but I think that the margins get smaller. That's the biggest thing, especially with some of these games that we knew were going to be tight. And we had some instant classics. Cuero and Silsby on Friday afternoon is one of the wildest high school football games I've ever seen.
It was awesome.
After I've spent the weekend thinking about it, and I didn't want to be a prisoner of the moment. Mm-hmm. It's not the wildest game I've ever seen. It is one of the wildest games I've ever seen.
And the fact that they decided to play that at 1:30 and be the only game on was just
perfect.
Chef's
really
kiss.
Good. Really good. With just an unbelievable amount of playmakers out there coming up with big play after big play, where the margins were so small. Refugio and Shiner lived up to the hype. Mm-hmm. Refugio and Shiner, I think, all things considered, had the biggest play of the year in Texas high school football. And that is on 4th and 12 from their own 13, Refugio's Keelan Brown hits Isaiah Avery for an 87-yard touchdown pass with 3.5 minutes to go and takes the lead.
Yeah, it looked
that
like...
If they do not convert, Shiner's up 21...
It was 28-21, I think, at that...
Final was 27-21. So then
they're
up 21-20.
Yeah.
I think they were up 21-20 or maybe... Yes. 21-19, whatever it was. If they don't convert that, Shiner gets the ball on the Refugio 13, and the game is over.
Yeah, because
they're going to give the ball to Dalton Brooks 4 times, 5 times, however many times it takes, and they're going to score a touchdown, and Shiner's going to play in a state semifinal.
After the last Shiner touchdown, I had picked Shiner. I took a deep breath because I was like, that was it. That was the dagger. Like, they're going to run this clock out. They need one more stop, and then they did not get that one more stop.
The other thing, so Refugio coach, this is from Mike Foreman, our friend of the Victoria Advocate. Refugio coach Jason Herring on 4th down call. I feel like if we punted, they were going to nickel and dime us. We had 2 timeouts, and they were up, and they were going to win the game. Last time everyone said, I can't believe you called that 4th and 1 from your own 11. There's never a question. The question was, what play was I going to call? That is a perfect example of the margins being so thin. Vandegrift and Dripping Springs, the margins were so thin. Austin Novosad stuffed on what would have been a game-winning quarterback sneak. Mm-hmm. Smithson Valley and College Station.
Darn, man. Unbelievable call by our Tommy Yarish on that, by the way. If you didn't see that game, go back and watch it on Texan Live.
The finish of that game was so wild. So, College Station's up, I want to say 20, whatever the final score was, 20, 26, 21, something like that. They're up. And they have to punt from basically their own end zone. We have a true he has trouble with, and there's like a minute left, 50 seconds left. We have a true he has trouble with the snap moment. Smithson Valley takes over at the 5. Mm-hmm. And College Station stonewalls them, I want to say 6 times. I want to say they stop them because I know there's a penalty in there.
It was either 5 or 6.
They stop them and get to a state semifinal. The margins this week were so razor thin. And the difference between playing this week and heading home were
one play.
One play. And that's where we're at this year, at this time of year. Those types of things, it takes a little bit to get there. That's thought number 1. Thought number 2, leapfrogs. I was never worried that TCU was going to make the playoff coming into this week. I was never worried. There was only one set of circumstances that they would have missed the playoff in my thought.
If they got
and that
their
was
doors blown
if
off.
they got boat raced in the Big 12 championship game. And I just didn't think that was going to happen. I thought that was outside the scope of possibility.
There was a moment where it looked like it was getting possible.
Oh, yeah.
But
I also knew they're going to
to
find a counterpunch.
Yeah,
They have all year.
Yeah.
Now, they lose. They lose the game. And I had TCU buddies who were sweating yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I was not. I did not think it was going to be an issue. Because I thought that they were very clearly, I think they had done enough to at least, at the most, drop to 4.
4, yeah.
Now, that was what I was worried about.
Yes.
I was worried they were going to drop to 4 and get fed to Georgia.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. There was 1% of me that is forever worried about the decision of the playoff committee, just because we've been burned so many times in the past.
And
so
TCU has been burned.
I will say 99% sure they would get in. There was 1% of me that was like, you never know.
You never know. They might put Alabama in.
But I was more on the 50-50 split as to they should be the 3rd seed. Will they be the 4th seed? Because
Yes.
that's what I was more concerned about. But there still was. I'm not going to lie. There was the 1% chance of me going,
Mm-hmm.
They've done dumber things in the past.
They absolutely have. They end up losing the game, but making the playoff and staying at number 3 and facing Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl in the international semifinal. It's historic. Obviously, it's the first Texas team to make the college football playoff. I think they are rightful underdogs to Michigan, but I also think they can beat Michigan. I don't think Michigan is some sort of world beater. I do. I would not say the same thing if they were playing Georgia. I would not say the same thing. I think Georgia's on a different level.
Yes.
I think Georgia's, in my opinion, very clearly the best team in college football.
Which, at that point, if you get your doors blown off by Georgia in the national championship, it's fine. You made it to the national championship.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Which actually is a nice segue into my final thought.
Uh-huh. You're welcome. I'm here as your sous chef.
The cruelest round. And I say this every year at this time. We're into the state semifinals. There's 20 games. There's 40 teams left. There's only 20 tickets to AT&T Stadium. Mm-hmm. This is the worst round to lose in.
110%.
And I don't think there's really any doubt about that.
No.
Sorry, coach is like,
you will see. Well, I'll say this: you will see tears in the regional final.
Yeah.
You are guaranteed to see tears when you get to the state.
Because you're so
final.
close.
Like we've always said, if you go get your doors blown off in the state championship game, your name still goes down in the history books.
100%. 100%. I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's talk about 2012 Corsicana Mildred. 2012 Corsicana Mildred. They make the title game and they get absolutely clobbered by East Bernard. Mm-hmm. Clobbered. 56-14. Drilled. Like, no contest. That was Nick Shemenek, the quarterback there for Mildred. Okay? Drilled. Okay? But I remember 2012 Corsicana Mildred. I have no idea who they beat in the semifinal. Mm-hmm. No idea. No idea.
I would even have to, if you want to use a really recent scenario, I would have to rack my brain to remember who Gilmer played in the regional final when they lost 70, when Carthage dropped a 70 burger on them 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up. You know who they beat? They beat Graham.
Okay, yeah, I would not have.
No.
I could have thought hard enough about that, but I wouldn't know it.
If you, the stakes are, I think the stakes are high. Stakes are as high this week as they are next week.
You just
because
get there.
If you win this week, You're remembered forever, even if you lose. Mm-hmm. You're remembered forever. And if you lose this week, you're a footnote.
Yep. You were 1 week away from making it to AT&T Stadium.
It's tough. It's tough to say, but it's the truth. Mm-hmm. This is the cruelest round of the playoffs. 2 helmet stickers, because I sent you the wrong one.
Yeah.
A helmet sticker for Abbott running back Mason Hell. This kid
is that Hell or
it's ATJL, but it's pronounced Hell.
I want to make sure I didn't spell
I have
it
that
wrong.
I have that on good authority. This kid was a warrior in their win over Erie County. 39 carries, 311 yards, and 8 touchdowns on the ground to push them into the state championship game. Unbelievable what he was able to do. And into the title game. They don't play this week. They play next Wednesday. And a helmet sticker to UTSA wide receiver Zachary Franklin. UTSA goes back-to-back as conference champions. They leave the conference with the belt like CM Punk through the crowd. And they are heading to a really fun bowl game against Troy.
That one's
like
very
a real headline,
interesting.
a really great bowl game. But Zachary Franklin really, like, there's a lot of players that UTSA is going to miss. Mm-hmm. Frank Harris, chief among them. But Zachary Franklin's not far down that list.
He had that touchdown. I don't know if it was late in the third or early in the fourth, but it was towards the north end zone, and he was in the far corner. It was just Mallory and I are sitting in the press box, and we went, "Oh my God, that was beautiful." He's so fun to watch in person too.
3 teams to watch. New home.
Another all caps in the Slack. New home.
New home stuns Wellington with a backup quarterback.
Yes.
Brazos Beck off the bench and off the top rope. New home's into their first ever state semifinal.
And it's not like like they were up by 20 and he came in the fourth quarter. Like he was in the first quarter.
100%. And now an opportunity. They're 48 minutes away. They get Albany this week. Incarnate Word. They've had an eventful week. So G.J. Kinney's going to be the new head coach at Texas State, as reported first by our own Mike Craven. He's still coaching Incarnate Word, and Incarnate Word won this week. So they're through to the next round of the FCS playoffs.
Yeah, he won, and then he went to take photos at Texas State and went to the Texas State basketball game, and then now he's back at practice the next day.
It is a bizarre situation.
I do think it's cool that he's finishing it out, though.
I think that's
mainly
great.
Because it's in the playoffs. It would be different if it was just a bowl game.
I think that's great. And Port Neches Groves. If you want to talk about, there weren't a ton of stunners, I think, in the regional finals. There were great games, obviously, but I don't know if there are any games that I would categorize as big upsets. Here is one. P&G over Fort Bend Marshall is a stunner. P&G lost to Marshall by 21 points in the first time they played. And they went out there, they took an early lead, and they held on for a 29-21 win. And Coach Jeff Joseph, in his first year there at P&G, is going to play in a state semifinal. And you know what? They get Liberty Hill. And you know what? Watch this space. Watch this space.
And it was funny because I know that we had been watching that game because we were monitoring it, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then you came in the Slack and you were like, oh, whoa, look at that. And I was like, yeah, they took away their speed in the first quarter. I said, but it seems like they're coming back. And they had about 2 drives of looking like they were coming back, and then P&G just throttled them the rest of the game.
3 to see. It's North Shore Westlake, folks. 3 o'clock Saturday at Rice Stadium. Yeah, it's champion versus champion. It's a title unification bout. That's my 3rd wrestling reference.
You're on a heater.
Title unification bout. North Shore and Westlake. Texas Bowl. Texas Tech and Ole Miss.
I like
well, once again, the Texas Bowl. We'll crown Mr. Texas football before the game there. But get excited for Texas Tech and Ole Miss. They have played each other a strange number of times in bowl games.
Yeah.
Tech and Ole Miss. Joey McGuire versus Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, that's a
combo.
pairing that I didn't think I would hear.
Finally, Canadian and Gunner Volume 6. The 6th meeting in 7 years in the state semifinals between the Gunner Tigers and the Canadian Wildcats. That's 3 to see. It's Monday Morning Fallout. We'll see you next. We're going to mothball Monday Morning Fallout now. We'll see you in August. Monday Morning Fallout. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Logo.
Hope you find
Bye,
your dad.
Logo.